I'm excited. I'm so ready for this. How is everyone doing tonight? Alrighty. So, as always, I want to get started by saying hello to everyone. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. My name is Holly Wayman, and I have been a health and wellness coach now for about 8 years. And I actually specialized in helping people specifically not only losing fat, but also building muscle and doing it the healthy way, helping people get their body healthier so that they can get results. That is one of the things that is so important to me in my practice as a coach, and really to be able to spread health awareness and teach people about healthier ways to live their life, change their lifestyle, and of course, supplements and all the other things that we can add to our life to make ourselves healthier. So, to begin today, I'm really excited because today we're going to discuss not only something that is natural, that is absolutely changing the game when it comes to the health and wellness space, but it's something that I'm sure many of you guys have already heard about because it's everywhere, right? We've all probably heard at some level about peptides, right? And how this is changing the game for people when it comes to losing weight. But there's a big, huge gap here that needs to be talked about. And that is the difference between weight loss and fat loss. This is where most people get confused, and this is where a lot of people end up getting themselves into so much trouble with their health. Because if you're only chasing a smaller body, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to be healthier. Okay? Of course, with this being said, it doesn't mean that being, of course, morbidly obese or, super overweight is healthy either. But there, of course, is always going to be an in between. So, again, today we're discussing energy, metabolism, fat loss, and why it's so important for us to have a protocol and have a specific way that we live our life from day to day. A lifestyle, a set of habits that we can implement into our lifestyle that is going to ensure that no matter what it is that we're taking, we're going to optimize our results with that thing. Okay. So to get started today, I want to discuss something that I have seen not only in my own coaching business, right? And not only in my with my own clients that I've worked with for over the years, hundreds and hundreds of people. And like I said, I have worked with athletes, I have worked with elderly, I have worked with children, men, women of all shapes and sizes, and also of different backgrounds when it comes to diseases. So once again, this is something that I've seen. And one of the biggest things comes down to people not understanding that their body, when they're overly stressed out, when they're constantly being bombarded by maybe not living the best lifestyle, maybe they're not eating the right foods, maybe we're not moving enough, the body goes into a state of survival. Basically, it says, I don't care how much you want to lose fat. We're not going to let go of this fat. And inflammation is extremely high, which basically means that we're going to have tons of symptoms. Let me just name off a few. Let's say that you're feeling fatigued. You have no energy. You're currently having constipation and bloating, maybe even hair loss. Maybe you're just really struggling to lose fat. I'm sure many of you guys can relate with this, right? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat for me if you right now are struggling to lose fat. Maybe you're approaching 40, 50 years old and you're noticing a significant change in your metabolism. And you're like, all of a sudden I've gained 10, 20 pounds and I haven't even changed anything, right? You're still eating the same. You're still, maybe doing the same type of lifestyle that you've been doing for most of your life, but something has shifted. Something has changed, and for some reason your body just says, "Yeah, no, we're not going to lose fat." Right? This is so common when people's hormones shift around 40 to 50. This doesn't only happen with women. Obviously, we have perimenopause and menopause for women, but this also happens for men because men start to have that decline in testosterone. And this is when we start to have the weight gain. And then we call it aging. Oh, you're just aging. That's why you don't have energy. That's why your body looks like this. That's why you're struggling. But this is just a fancy way for people to say, yeah, your health is declining and I don't really know how to help you. So you're just going to have to deal with it. And I know for me as a coach, this is not something that I ever tell my clients. This is never something that you will hear coming from me. There is always a way to create more health and to get you to a better place so that you can have more energy, you can lose the weight, you can feel amazing again, and you don't have to blame your symptoms and feeling like crap on aging. Okay? So, again, what we're discussing today, we're going to be going in depth on peptides. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Origin or our triGLP. This is an oral peptide, okay? For those of you who haven't heard of peptides, peptides are huge in the space right now because they're basically, think of a protein broken down into amino acids that break down into peptides. Very, very, very small molecules that go into the body. They're like a messenger that tells the cells and tells the body to respond a certain way. And we'll get into that more in just a moment. But this has been such a giant, like a huge discovery in the scientific world. And of course, like I said, has been changing the game, not only in the medical space, because we're going to see this continue to grow and grow and grow in the pharmaceutical world, in the medical arenas, but also in the health and wellness space, because of course, people are noticing the cosmetic differences in how they're feeling. They're losing weight. They're just feeling better overall from peptides. So again, so much science to back this up. And I just want to say that again, so many people don't understand how many of their illnesses, how many of their symptoms, of the problems that they're having are rooted in their gut, right? The metabolism, all of these words that people throw out. Oh, I have a slow metabolism. Your metabolism is basically how your body uses energy. How does your body take in the food that you're eating? How does it metabolize everything? How is it producing energy? And how good, basically, can your system process through all these things and use them, right? So, again, inflammation affects how we are processing food. It affects how we are able to, how energized or depleted we feel every single day. And all of these diagnoses that we get from, doctors and different people, regardless of the diagnosis, whether this is, oh, you have a thyroid condition, or you have diabetes, or you even have cancer, your body at some level is dealing with problems with how it responds and uses glucose, your insulin levels, and having high inflammation. If we can solve those three problems, how your body responds to sugar, let me see here. Let me make sure we're muted. If we're basically helping your body respond better to glucose, lowering our insulin levels, right? Instead of walking around being insulin resistant, which is what tons of people are dealing with nowadays. It's insane. The number of people that struggle for their body to struggle so much with being able to use sugars, we'll get into that in just a moment as well, is astronomical. It's absolutely crazy. So again, we have to learn that the body, when it's healthier, right? When we learn to do the proper lifestyle and the proper supplementation and all the things that allow our body to regain its health, we will naturally start to see the weight drop off, the symptoms disappear, the energy return, and you start to just feel like yourself again. All of a sudden, you're like, you know what? My brain is sharper. I feel more confident. I feel like I felt like when I was in my 20s, right? That's the type of the energy and the way that all of us want to feel, right? That's why we do the things that we do. That's why we exercise. That's why we eat good. That's why we choose to live a good lifestyle so that we can feel our best. So again, something that I really, really want to touch on today, and this is so important, is fat loss versus weight loss. Like I said in the beginning, one of the biggest things that I have been seeing in the industry right now, especially with people who have been injecting peptides, I'm not going to demonize this. I'm not going to say that it's the worst thing in the world, but we are seeing that injectable peptides, such as Ozempic, are causing significant downstream problems for people and extreme side effects because they are synthetic peptides, meaning that they go into the body, they cause a chemical reaction, again, signaling to the cells to perform a certain action. And for a lot of people, they abuse it. They're using too high of dosages. And also, they don't implement the right lifestyle changes. And guess what happens? Your body will lose weight. But guess where most of the weight is coming from? Most of the weight is coming from muscle tissue, which as you age, you should be holding on to your muscle for dear life because your muscle controls how much your body can not only prevent you from getting injured, helps your body respond better to insulin. Remember, we talked about that earlier, making it so your body is less likely to get a disease. Simply holding on to muscle can help you literally reduce your chances of getting all diseases. That is a huge discovery, right? So again, Ozempic is causing a lot of people to lose weight. But the problem is it's not necessarily coming from fat. That is the danger zone because yeah, wow, the scale's going down. Wow, my clothes are fitting better. I'm dropping weight. But what happens when your body loses so much muscle and now your metabolism has tanked? You're not eating enough, right? All of these things significantly are going to impact your body in very negative ways. And another thing I want to bring to our attention tonight is sarcopenia. This is basically not only when your body loses the muscle, but even deeper than this, we talk about once the body loses a certain amount of muscle mass, the body will start going to your bones. This is this is not good because one of the things you need when you're aging is to keep your bone mass because that's where you store your minerals. That is what your body needs so that when you're older, you don't fall and you don't break your hip or cause any sort of injury that can literally put you out, right? So these are very important things that because the marketing is so strong on a lot of these peptides, these injectable peptides, and people are pushing them so much that sometimes people forget that it's about health. Like, this can't be stressed enough. It's about how we get our bodies healthier so that the body will naturally lose weight. And that is why I'm so excited to talk about today's the triGLP and the peptide because I mean not even just today in general, right? Because this is such an amazing discovery that they've been able to create something so amazing, this triGLP that's an oral peptide that is only four ingredients, first of all, which or organic ingredients. So one, salmon, lemon, ginger, and water. So simple, yet the way that this responds in our body, because it's all natural, is a completely different than a synthetic chemical process. Because again, it's more natural, it goes into your body and is going to have a very, I wouldn't say subtle because you're still going to get results from this. Of course, it's going to have a very similar effect to these other peptides, but it's going to do it in a much more healthy and natural way so that you're not dealing with all these crazy side effects like muscle loss, bone loss, and all these crazy things that many people are experiencing when they take these injectable peptides. So again, let me discuss with you guys before we move on, I want to go into a little bit more detail on what exactly is a GLP-1. So for those of you who don't know, Ozempic is a GLP-1, but what we're talking about today is a triGLP. Basically, that means it has three. We have GLP-1, GLP-2, and GIP, each one serving a different purpose and, of course, signals a different pathway in your body. So again, GLP-1, to discuss that one first, of course, is again, this is like, I want to describe this as the signaling in the body that allows you to feel less hungry because it slows down your digestion and it also helps with your insulin levels because of the way that it slows down your digestion. Basically, it makes it so the process when you're consuming food and it goes through your digestive process, it allows you to absorb the food slower. So instead of having a really high insulin spike from your food, you're going to have a little bit of a lower insulin spike. This is one of the reasons why people see, a big change when they're taking, a GLP-1. So again, when you think about a GLP-1, just think about this as being a huge thing that is going to make you feel less cravings. This is going to allow you to feel fuller because it's the molecule, basically the signaling molecule is released when you eat food, but now you're taking it in the form of a peptide that's going to allow you to feel fuller so that you're able to eat less and feel less cravings. All right. GLP number 2. This one is an amazing aspect of the GLP because this is going to help not only repair your gut lining, but in the process of it, basically giving your body more of those I wouldn't call them nutrients, but it's basically signaling to the body, hey, produce more of those good guys that help you heal your gut. This is going to allow you to absorb more nutrients, absorb more minerals, get more of the good stuff from your food, so that again, now we're not only healing our gut, we're making it so that our body can finally absorb the good stuff from the food that we're eating. This is huge, right? This is super important. So again, that's that. And then we have the third one, which is our GIP. The reason why these three paired together is so powerful is because when we put these three together, we have the GIP that is going to increase your energy expenditure, and specifically, it's going to help you target your fat. Game changer, right? Because what did we say in the beginning? We have an Ozempic, right? That's a GLP-1, makes you feel less full. You're going to eat less, but it doesn't do anything to preserve your muscle tissue. This GIP helps you preserve your muscle tissue. Absolutely essential. That is why the difference between an Ozempic and a triGLP is completely different when it comes to overall health and fat loss specifically, because we are changing the game. Changing the game. Not only is this an oral peptide, which I mean, who doesn't want to like have something that they can take in a drop form instead of a needle, right? That's amazing. But on top of that, not having to deal with side effects, right? And being able to actually get healthier because we're now targeting fat loss instead of just losing weight, which is definitely not something that we want to focus on. Okay. And of course, I will definitely not go without saying that, like I said in the beginning, these things are incredible. This triGLP is so amazing, not only for helping you lose fat, but decreasing inflammation, helping heal your gut, making it easier for your body to absorb minerals, nutrients, the good stuff in your food. But all of these things are so important for us to also make sure that we're doing this along with our healthy lifestyle. This can't be stressed enough. That is why we have a protocol. The protocol that goes along with this is what is going to set you light years ahead of every single other person who is taking any peptides. Because, like I said in the beginning, if we're already focusing on something like this, of course, right, the triGLP that's helping you lose fat, and you're adding a strength training routine, and you have a meal plan and you have something structured that you can follow, this is going to allow you in 30 days, because we have the protocol. I've created this amazing protocol with the exact workout plan that are designed to build muscle, preserve your muscle, and also lose fat, right? Building your endurance, whilst also pairing that with a high protein diet so that we can, again, not only preserve, but also build some really good muscle so that we can feel incredible. Muscle is the metabolism booster of your body. It is what is going to allow you to feel amazing, prevent injuries, and absolutely age in a way that feels significantly different than if you were to not do this, right? So again, the protocol is essential. This is something that I feel like if people really could just stick to this for 30 days, I promise you, you're not going to want to just do this for 30 days. You're going to end up making this a part of your life because not only how great you feel, but how incredible your body is and the transformation that you're going to have is just going to make it, it's just going to be a no-brainer. You're going to want to share the triGLP. You're going to want to share the protocol and the process because of how incredible this is for transforming your body. And I want to share some of these testimonials with you guys as well because One thing is me preaching this and saying how incredible it is, but the results speak for themselves. I have my own testimony with this amazing process and protocol. This is something, again, that is proven and studied. I've been in this industry, like I said, for over 8 years now. I have learned what are the things that actually move the needle, not all the extra fluffy stuff that you hear online, but the things that actually move the needle for your health, the things that you can make time for, the things that a lot of the stuff is even free. You don't have to go out and buy extravagant things to be healthy. You just have to implement certain changes and habits that really make the difference, that bring back your health again, and that really allow you to live really any lifestyle, have the flexibility, be able to enjoy yourself and be healthy. So that's the whole point of this. And again, I want to share some of these other peptide or these other there we go. The other testimonial here. This one is from Angie here, and I want to share with you guys this one because we've talked a lot about fat loss today, but one of the things that's even more crucial that I want to discuss is that what if you are someone who maybe you're like, "Oh, well, I don't really have a lot of fat to lose," or maybe I'm not even looking to lose fat. This triGLP, this peptide is not just for people who want to lose fat. This can be an incredible addition for you if you are wanting to just decrease inflammation. Maybe you want to tone yourself up a little bit more. Maybe you want to just feel tighter and build some more muscle mass. This also works for those people because this is not something that's only for if you want to lose fat. This is something you take if you want to live a longer, healthier life. And that is why I really love Angie's testimonial because it's just such a great example for people because again, there's so many people out there that just think, oh, well, if someone's thin, then they're super healthy, right? Just because someone is skinny doesn't always mean that, right? I'm not saying this, of course, in the case of Angie, but I'm just giving that example. There's plenty of people that are walking around super, super thin and they have diabetes. It's not about being skinny. It is about having the right amount of muscle on your body so that you can be strong and that your body can be resilient to stress and resilient to life. Okay. And then lastly, we have JC's testimonial here. This one is obviously incredible. I mean, just look at the before and afters. This is a perfect example of being in this protocol, applying it consistently, and the amount of muscle that you can put on your body. This is incredible because, again, this is not only going to help with longevity, this is going to help with how he responds, again, to sugars, to carbohydrates, all of these things that people are scared of. And they hear carbs, you need to cut carbs to lose weight. That's not always the case. The problem is if your body cannot handle carbs, maybe you just need to build some more muscle, right? I know that I sound like a broken record because sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, that's all she talks about is building muscle. But now the science is backing me. Now the science is backing up that being, strength training, having a protocol, having, the high protein diets, implementing these things into your lifestyle really do make a huge difference. Muscle is not just an aesthetic thing. It is an organ that helps you with longevity. It helps you prevent injuries, and it makes a huge difference to your overall health and life. Okay. So to close out today, I just want to share this also with you guys is basically what can you expect? Okay. So let's say that maybe you've already started with the triGLP, maybe you're ready to get started, but I want to just share with those who haven't what you can expect during the first few weeks or maybe even first couple months of taking this. During your weeks 1 to 2, this is when you're going to notice a decrease in cravings. This is what we like to call kind of like the transitional period when you're first taking a product, is that you're going to notice the maybe more subtle differences, right? You're going to be like, I feel like I'm mentally more sharp than I was before. Maybe I'm sleeping a little better than I was before. Just those type of things that you're like, I can tell that I'm taking something and I'm starting to feel good. Once you pass week 3, right? This is when you're going to start noticing the changes, right? The changes in your waistline, the changes in how your clothes are fitting you. And also, I would say this is also when people start to feel a lot more energy. And the reason for this is because when your body responds better to glucose and your insulin levels are more stable, you don't have as many crashes throughout the day. Like I've already mentioned, when we eat food, we have an insulin spike, right? But when we're taking this peptide, it helps to keep our insulin levels more stable. This allows you to not have those constant crashes throughout the day where it feels like a freaking roller coaster of energy. So again, those are some big ones, right? When we start to notice, of course, we want to see the results, but being able to also feel that amazing, energy again and just, feel lighter and all that stuff. Okay? And then once we pass into, we hit week 6 and then we go maybe to week 8, this is when we start to make this again a lifestyle. This is when people start to really fall in love with this product because now they're like, I don't even feel like I remember what life was like before this because I'm feeling incredible. I'm taking something that's all natural. I'm feeling like I finally have that, that extra thing to help me when it comes to my fat loss. But I want to say this as well. When it comes to healing your gut and these type of things, it is not something that happens overnight. So you're going to see incredible results within 8 weeks, but you will want to continue to take this because it's not something that's just going to feel incredible after 8 weeks. You're going to notice the effects of this compound over time, meaning it's going to get better and better and better with time. So this is really important, and I really wanted to share that with you just so you can be prepared. Again, what can you expect? What is it going to be like on this journey? Because I don't want you guys to quit. You are going to feel so incredible. And again, regardless of what your goals are, if you're trying to improve your health because you have a diagnosis, if you are trying to lose weight, if you are trying to just have more mental clarity, this is going to be something that helps you. So it's been incredible. And I'm sure for those of you who are here today who've already tried it, I'm sure they can share for those who haven't yet tried it, their experience with it. And I'll just close by saying if you are here today and someone invited you to this call and you want to give this a try and you are like, I am ready to go all in. I want the protocol. I want to try the GLP. I want to go forward with this. Go ahead and contact the person who invited you here today and they will get you all set up. All right. So thank you guys again for being here tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Bye bye.